Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Saints Insider Podcast for Friday, October the 31st. Happy Halloween on what has been a truly terrifying year for Saints fans. Lots of tricks, not very many treats, but they do get Tyler Shough in at quarterback. We're going to talk about Saints-Rams. And as far as scary movies go, Matt, I know it's going to be past Halloween. Sunday might qualify.
Yeah, it might. I mean, it could also be a nice treat if Tyler Shough exceeds expectations. This is where it starts, right? I mean, he's facing a very respected Rams team, but he has 9 games now, basically, to prove he's the guy for the job. And so we'll see how he does.
Nightmare at SoFi.
Was there any truth you wanted to borrow my shirt for the show?
No.
How come you're like Rod's in his Freddy Krueger outfit?
I didn't bring the hat, but it is a Freddy sweater.
Yeah, there you go.
Those
Pumpkin,
listening on the podcast,
peanuts.
you're missing out. Yeah,
I like that, actually.
we all got some Halloween spirit here.
I'm a huge
Except
peanuts
for
guy.
Dunk.
Target.
Yeah, no, I didn't come prepared at all. But I will be tonight. Actually, I'm going to a Halloween party, so
All right, what you going to be?
can't talk about it. Elvis. Got an Elvis. It's my go-to. So, but no, look, speaking of Elvis, leading man, I think Tyler Shough's time has arrived, right? It's gonna be fun to see how he handles this assignment, because it's going to be a difficult one, like Matt said. I mean, this is a good team, and they literally are they're a viable Super Bowl contender, I think.
I agree. Matt,
I was
ahead.
just going to say, this has been like a really tough sports week for the state of Louisiana, so
Oh my gosh,
let's hope
man.
it doesn't continue.
We don't have enough time in this podcast.
Yeah, between the circus going on in Baton Rouge at LSU and then Tulane last night, Pelicans are awful.
Saints are.
Honestly, the switch to Shuck kind of gives you a little bit of a boost midseason in a bad, because it's at least something interesting. Obviously, hope is a powerful drug. Saints fans can hope that Tyler Shough shows something.
Yeah, you at least want to see what he can do. I mean, even if it's not good, it's something like it's not the same old thing we've watched for 8 weeks in a row. So it'll be something different.
Right.
I don't know if it'll be good, but it'll be different.
And
Maybe.
it might be the same.
Might be the same.
But I mean, like, to your guys' point, like, the Pelicans are, I think, of every team in the state right now, like the team that has like no hope in terms of, all right, Willie Green, you don't know what's happening there, but it doesn't look good for him. They traded not only their first-round pick for Derek Queen, who is, he needs time to grow, but you have the Indiana pick that they traded, and Indiana looks terrible. And they're 4 games into this, 5, and it just looks really ugly. And I don't know, has it looked as bad for the Saints this season, even with, I guess the Seattle game would be the only one?
Well, there's more hope for the future with the Saints,
Right.
I think. Like, the salary cap situation gets better. Their draft pick next year they actually have, and it's going to be, LSU, who knows what's going on. It's funny, having done this podcast for a couple years now and talking about how murky the Saints' future is, all of a sudden, when you compare it to Louisiana's other teams, Jeff, like, it looks it's kind of the best, which may say more about those other situations.
I'll say this. Rod and I were talking earlier this week about, going out around town, when you're out and about or when you're speaking to groups in town. I haven't heard it this low maybe ever, and that's saying something, because I've been around a while and seen some pretty dark times. But collectively, like Matt said, I mean, just everything is bad right now. And I don't know how much hope Saints fans really have right now. I mean, I think there's a lot of worry because they don't know if they've got the right people in place to fix it. And I think that's the overarching concern right now, is so much higher than Tyler Shough and even Kellen Moore. I think there's real legitimate concerns from the people I hear from via email, text, just out and about. It's been a long time since I can remember it being this gloomy.
And I'm sure people in the comments will point out that, Gail Benson owns both of these teams that we're talking about.
Yeah, just look at.
I've never heard
my
anybody say
tweet.
that, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, does that come up?
Did you know that?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But I would say this. I mean, like, we're going to find out about the quarterback of the future in these next 9 weeks.
Right.
That's one thing I think we'll get the answer is Shuck the guy or is he not?
And if he is, how much does that change the way you view the future? Because if you've got the quarterback in place, even more so than the head coach. In the NFL, if you've got the quarterback in place, you feel a lot better about things. And so we'll find out that answer. But speaking of finding out answers, if you have financial questions, if you have banking decisions to make, check out our friends at Bank Plus. Saints Insider is sponsored by Bank Plus. From small business to big business, home loans to bank anywhere technology, Bank Plus is here for New Orleans. New deposit customers can reach out today to learn about incredible rate specials. Learn more at bankplus.net. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Saints play in LA, in Inglewood, at 3:05 Central Time on Sunday. Matt, you're making the trip. You got good weather out there?
Yeah.
It's always good weather. It never rains in Southern California.
Yeah, no, it's always great to. I'm going back to California on our bye week. That's how much I like it.
How many times what is this, like trip 4 for you, like in about 2 years?
Yeah, I had never been to I had never been to Los Angeles before taking this job, and I have been plenty of times.
And now it's like you're home away from home.
Yeah, pretty much.
So that the game is at 3:05. It's on Fox. The betting line shows the Rams favored by 14 points. Second time this year that the Saints have been 2 touchdown underdogs. The other time was at Buffalo. Saints did cover that spread. I believe they lost by 12. So we'll see what our predictions are at the end of the show. You can leave your predictions as well as we dig into this. I kind of want to look at this in 2 different ways, guys. We always do, Saints have the ball, Rams have the ball. Let's split up Saints have the ball and talk just about Tyler Shough first. Because as you said, Jeff, the Saints are going to get an answer. The issue, Rod, is that it's a little bit like he's getting his final exam first. This is by far the toughest defense I think he'll face. You could argue Tampa Bay, maybe. In a few weeks they play again at Tampa. But this Rams pass rush is elite. The offense is going to put pressure on him to score points. So it is a little bit like getting the toughest test at the beginning.
Yeah, I asked him about that the other day. Like, what does that kind of say that they're throwing you out there into the fire against his team? He said, he thinks every team in the NFL is good, but this will be an elite pass rushing team. They're second in the league in sacks. And so he'll be tested. I mean, I hope people don't overreact however he plays. I hope you don't overreact to how he does in this game, because there's a good chance that he could struggle in this game. I don't think you should overreact for his first game being against the Rams.
Yeah, in some ways it works the other way too. Expectations will be so low. No one expects the Saints to win this game. That in that way, maybe it is a soft landing spot, Matt. Like I don't know, if he really struggles, people will say, okay, but it's the Rams. Let's see how he does against the Carolinas and the Jets and the Titans of the world later on.
It is, yeah. And I mean, I think for me, the thing I'm looking for the most is how he handles that pass rush. That was the thing that during that joint practice in the summer, Spencer Rattler too, the offensive line. The offensive line was just like toast that whole day. And I was, as you guys are talking, I was looking up kind of the stats from that day. We tracked it all, and Shuck was 13 of 22. He's going to throw more than that, I would imagine, against the Rams, but somewhere in that range, I think of, I don't know what the percentage is off the top of my head.
How many yards? That's 60%-ish.
Yeah, we didn't
You didn't track it, okay. I'm just wondering, was he throwing downfield?
Sometimes.
60%'s okay if you're getting chunk plays.
But also check downs and stuff. He had some nice. The thing I remember about that practice is they heated up towards the end. That they found their rhythm as kind of the day went along. But that defensive line is it's really impressive. I mean, Jared Verse, Byron Young. It's just they have a really good set of edge rushers, and I don't know, that was the thing I think prevented Shuck from winning the job outright, was that he was just a step slow. And so what does his speed look like now? And I think you could kind of see that growth in the Tampa game, even though the stats weren't necessarily great. You could see him processing faster. And so I think the Rams are going to be another test of that.
And I think the offense will be opened up a little with him. I think his arm, his decisiveness, I think it'll be a little more open. It'll be interesting to see, but I do think it's going to be different than what we've seen. Even though they have a very similar skill set, there's some things that he can do that Spencer Rattler can't, and I think we're going to see that as this plays out over the last 9 games.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's more about they're going to call different plays. I just think he's going to get the ball down the field more often.
Could be a little
When you say that, you mean the deep ball. I mean, it seems like Rattler at times was unwilling almost to take those shots.
Yeah, and I had somebody tell me this week that remember the ball he missed to Shaheed? You know, they said that was important because every defense is going to see that now. And
That
I
he'll
know
at
that,
least take the shot.
they're gonna take that shot, and you eventually you hope they get that timing down to where they connect on it. So and I think someone else said something about him this week that I thought was interesting. They mentioned I think that Aaron Rodgers said his rookie year he spent it all on the scout team, and I guess Brett Favre was the quarterback at the time, and he said that was critical for his development, working that without the pressure of a game. So we'll see if that helps. I agree with Matt, though. He did seem a little quicker on the trigger in the Bucs game, and that's getting thrown into the fire without getting those reps with the ones. So we'll see. He's going to have to be quick on the trigger, I think, this week or he's going to be on his back. And I do think he does tend to get a little, like most quarterbacks, panicky when he gets pressure. So I want to see if he handles that pressure better, because that's one thing that I've been a little concerned with watching him is he rushed that one. He even admitted it. He rushed it. I mean, he didn't have to rush that fourth down pass, but he got a little pressure and just totally lost his mind.
I want to just see how accurate he is, because there were so many plays this season where Spencer Rattler just is a tad behind on the throw or something. If he hits on those throws, I mean, Spencer may still be starting. Some of those plays go right. So I'd like to see if Shuck can just be as accurate as I think he can be.
Yeah, it's a good point, because I think we envisioned this Kellen Moore offense as being, some of these short passes, scheming guys open, getting that yak, and it hasn't been there in part because the throws haven't been on point. Mm-hmm. And so if Shuck can improve just in that aspect of it, maybe you do see some improvement. I'm curious what you guys think. Tyler Shough came in last week with 4 minutes left in the third quarter, something like that. So he played almost 20 minutes. He threw the ball 30 times. Now, Saints were obviously trailing, and you have to throw in that situation. Over or under 29.5 pass attempts for him this Sunday? Do you think he'll throw 30 times against the Rams?
I'm going to say yes, just because they're going to be
behind.
They're probably going to be behind.
What's the right number?
That's a good point. It's not even a reoccurring bit like we normally do for the Bell. I just think that's a good point.
Yeah.
The number, I would say 35.5, somewhere in there.
Okay. Jeff?
Yeah. They're going to be behind, and he's going to be chucking it, trying to play catch-up ball.
Shuck.
And they also can't. They can't. They can't run the ball. So they can't run the ball.
Well, okay, but that's why I think I set the number lower, because I do wonder, and we can use this point to transition into the rest of the offense. This is a little bit of a season reset. Naturally, you're changing the quarterback. You're facing a team that has maybe the best pass rush in the NFL, certainly top 5. Isn't this when you have to go out and say, we have to at least attempt to establish the run again? They did it against Buffalo. They actually fairly successfully. And that's what you're supposed to do against a great pass rush, is try to run the ball. It takes some pressure off Tyler Shough. I mean, if you don't do it now, you might as well just never do it.
No, I think that would be the game plan going in. But if the defense plays well, then you can get some stops. You can kind of stick and commit to that. But this is a good Rams offense too, which we'll get to in a minute. But so I think that's going to be the problem. Like, can you stop these guys enough that you can commit to the run and not be playing from behind?
Yeah,
they rank 14th in rushing defense. So in theory, you could, but I don't. The thing I want to see even more so than the run, like I'd like to see Alvin Kamara involved a little bit more in the passing game. Like, where have the screens been in this offense? Like that just hasn't been there. And if you think about like all these pass rushers coming, you would think that maybe you could fool them with a screen or two and get down the field. Like it just hasn't really been there yet, and I don't know how big of an element it is of Kellen Moore. I think that's like a philosophy thing, and I think even one of the reasons they didn't run the ball last week, Kellen Moore did not say this, but I just don't think they thought they could run on Tampa. Because there were opportunities where that game was close, and they could have done it, but he just stuck to his guns, and I just think they looked at how this offensive line has been, how these running backs have been, what Tampa has done, and you'd always like to run the ball more, but they didn't. And also, I would say for the Tampa game specifically, Kellen Moore noted the heavy amount of RPOs that they had in their offense and how a lot of those turned into passes, which I don't know if he was always pleased with that decision making from Spencer Rattler.
Well, you make a good point about the screens. I don't think they've thrown any in the last. I mean, they do some little check downs and some swing passes to Alvin, but it's not the traditional screen. And I would be really surprised if they try and do it now because they're their two best. Well, Eric McCoy's a key to their screen game, at least always was. Right. He's out. You're not going to use pinning to lead a screen. I guess you could probably go to Ruiz and use him. But, I mean, they really – maybe that's what he's seeing is he doesn't feel like they have the offensive line to run it properly. But it's definitely been missing in their menu of play options. And I don't know why. Maybe it's just something he doesn't believe in.
Better start with Alvin Kamara. That's, by the way, Matt, you may be like a shark in disguise because I just looked up the betting line, 34.5 over under Tyler Shough attempts. So you nailed it.
Mr. Vegas over here.
The other thing is the Rams, when they get a lead, they are Sean McVay will. This is a little bit more about when the Rams have the ball, I suppose, but when they get a lead, their time of possession, their tempo changes more than any team in the league. When they get a lead, they will take more time in between plays. They will run the ball. They will shorten the game. And so I do wonder how many opportunities the Saints get if they're down 10 or so in the second half. Can their defense get off the field on these long drives? So let's use that opportunity to transition into when the Rams have the ball. You know the characters. Matthew Stafford's been around forever, a future Hall of Famer. He is, right, Jeff? Matthew Stafford?
I would say so.
Yeah, probably.
Future Hall of Fame. Devontae Adams may be a future Hall of Famer on this team as well. Puka Nacua is back after missing the last several games with injury. Rams are coming off of their bye week. They were in London the week before, so they're healthy and rested. Kyron Williams, very good running back. It's a pretty solid unit, Rod.
Yeah, tight end's good. Tyler Higbee. Yeah, I mean, they have a really good offense, and the Saints defense played well last week. So if they can somehow carry that over to the West Coast as we could keep them in the game. But I mean, they'd have to play really well like they did last week. And I think the Rams they have so many weapons. So this is kind of a different animal.
It's funny, the Rams' offensive numbers are not actually out of this world. But part of that, again, is because of what I said. When they have a lead, they tend to shorten the game. They've also played a pretty tough schedule so far. They've played Seattle, good defense. They played Philadelphia, good defense. Minnesota, good defense. I mean, they have been tested against some pretty good units and still producing.
Yeah, and I think it's a really good test for Kool-Aid McKinstry, who's seemed like he's maybe turned a corner of late. Had some really impressive pass breakups in the end zone there this last game. It seems like he's kind of heating up, but Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua are two of the best. It's maybe the best receiving core in terms of like the 1-2 punch in the league. Maybe I don't.
That seems a little stretch, but go ahead.
I mean, who are you putting up against him?
Off the top of my head,
Devontae and
AJ Brown and Devontae Smith in Philly would be up there.
I would.
What about Jamar and?
Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. That might be number one.
Yeah,
but I agree. Nacua and Adams are
top five.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and the best the Saints will face this year, I think.
And this has always been a rough matchup for the Saints corners, just based on the way that the Rams use motion. They've been really torched by them in the past, and see if it's any different this time around.
I think, doesn't Stafford have 17 touchdown passes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty impressive. And this is the second week in a row they will have faced a veteran quarterback, a guy that's seen it all. You know, they went through that stretch where it was Jackson Dart and Drake May, Caleb Williams, younger quarterbacks. Now they get back-to-back veteran guys. And I did think they played well last week, but it was a little circumstantial, like, you know, the goal line stand. I don't know what Tampa was trying to do there other than just run the fullback dive right into the teeth of the defense. That won't happen with the Rams. If they get on the 1 yard line, they will score touchdowns. I guarantee you. So we'll see. I think this has been a difficult matchup, like Matt said. Nakua has torched them in the past. He's a difficult matchup for anybody, but especially this secondary. But I do think the secondary, if we're talking about hope, that is one area where you can see, a future with Riley coming on. Sanker has played, I think, better than anybody thought. And McKinstry, you got young, talented guys that are kind of holding their own. A lot of times when these quarterbacks are forced to scramble and extend plays, it's because their first and second options aren't there because the coverage has been good.
Yeah, and if this is, of course, the matchup that got Alontae Taylor benched a couple years ago in that Thursday night game out there. So there's a lot of challenge for this unit. But you're right. If that young secondary can perform against this team, then that's a really good sign. So that's the story when the Rams have the ball. We are going to come back and do our keys to the game and our predictions for Saints versus Rams. First, we need to take a break and hear this word from our sponsors.
Banking has come to a crossroads. Do you want to bank with an actual bank, with actual people? One that you can walk into or drive through, get real help from a real person. Or do you want a bank that lives inside your phone? A digital bank that gives you control of your money anywhere, anytime. Well, why not both?
Bank Plus, a partner in your corner, wherever that may be.
Did they ask you to do the commercial too?
Yeah, but they just gave me one line.
Bet like a Caesar. Like, we're gonna sit here and we're gonna tell them how Caesar's Sportsbook is just so easy to use that you can watch and bet thousands of sports events, even some NFL games.
They'll probably show us betting on our favourite players and teams at all the Vegas hotspots too.
Like, we have time for that montage.
I told him I couldn't do it.
They couldn't afford me.
And welcome back to the Saints Insider Podcast for Friday, Halloween, October the 31st. Zach Ewing hanging out with Rod Walker, Matthew Paris, and Jeff Duncan. We encourage you to subscribe to the Saints Insider on YouTube, or if you prefer, we are on Apple Podcasts and Spotify as well. Leave us a review, leave us a thumbs up, comment, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. We appreciate all of you, and we will shout out our prediction contest winners here in a minute when we get into Saints-Rams picks. First of all, keys to the game, guys. Man, I'll just start with this question, Rod. If the Saints somehow pull this upset off, what does that do for this franchise, for Tyler Shough, for Kellen Moore? What could that mean?
I think it definitely.
It's Halloween. We're in fantasy land here for a minute. Go ahead.
It definitely fires the fan base up, and it changes it changes a lot of stuff. I mean, people think, okay, we may have found our guy. I'm assuming that you're saying that the Saints win and Shuck's had a good game.
I mean,
right? This isn't like an Alvin Kamara 6 touchdowns.
This isn't Jimmy Garoppolo has to play.
Can they win without Shuck at least being decent? Even if the run game is good, that means he's putting them in the right calls. That means he may be making the right RPO decisions. I mean, like, the quarterback gets credit for a good offense performance regardless.
Especially when you look at how many times Spencer Rattler was unable to win. If Shuck can beat the Rams, people are really excited around here.
Jeff, you got a take on this? I mean, it's just one game, but it would feel very, very meaningful to me if in Shuck's first performance they could pull off this massive upset.
Yeah, but I do think there's always that possibility of the new quarterback bump. It happens all the time, right?
Not a lot of film on him.
Didn't Jackson Dart have success and then come here and turn back into the Great Pumpkin or whatever it was? That happens a lot. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if he played well, and I would surprise me if the Saints were to win. But in the NFL, man, anything can happen. We know that. They can get a lead. I don't think the Rams will overlook the Saints. I don't think that's going to happen. They're a well-coached team. But if they get a lead, which seems to be impossible for them to get on a lead, get an early lead, you just never know how these games play out. I mean, I watched the Miami Dolphins curb stomp the Falcons a week ago, and they looked like a dead team walking the weeks before that. So I'm not going to rule anything out.
Yeah, you just never know. I mean, we showed the money line earlier. It was Saints plus 650, which means a 15% chance of winning. Like, this is not LSU against McNeese State. Like this is NFL teams playing each other, Matt, and so anything could happen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know even if Tyler Shough plays like amazing. I don't think I'm gonna be like, wow, he's the guy. I think you just have to let it play out over the course of the season. But it would definitely be an encouraging start, and I think even in training camp, he had some wow throws, some wow moments. Like, you just want to see he has the tools and the right composure for the job. I wrote about it this week. Like, what does he have to show to prevent the Saints from taking a quarterback? Now, if he wins enough games and plays them out of that top quarterback range, then, that'll take care of itself. But even if they had like the 6th pick, there's still like a good argument to be made that this team should draft another quarterback. But if he impresses down the stretch, like I talked to someone in August, Robert Mays from The Athletic, he compared it to like, he'd have to have maybe a Drake May type rookie season where, all right, the underlying the statistics might not be great, but the underlying numbers are a lot better than that. You're succeeding despite your circumstances, I think is kind of the way to watch Shuck. Is, with these receivers, even if they're dropping balls, is he still getting it there on time? Is he making sound decisions? Is he making really impressive throws? Like, there's just a lot of little ways I think he can actually lock up this job for at least next year.
Yeah, and
going down the stretch.
I'll tell you the other thing that I think no one's really thinking about, and that is if he plays well, everybody in the league's going to see it. So suddenly he becomes like a very valuable commodity too. Right. If they fall in love with Fernando Mendoza in the draft process or somebody like that, I mean, they fall head over heels, then they've got a young quarterback that's going to be attractive as a potential trade option. If they really believe one of the quarterbacks in this draft is a generational type guy, I'm not saying they will, but it gives them flexibility going forward if he plays well. And I do know this. I mean, I found that out this week. I mean, they definitely had a first-round grade on Tyler Shough. So that lets you know what they think of him. Now, how many first-round grades are these upcoming quarterbacks in this draft class going to have? So just think of it that way as opposed to obviously he's got to play well. I mean, if he doesn't matter what his grade is if he doesn't play well. But they thought highly of him, I guess is what I'm saying.
I think it's important too, and this is discussion for future weeks. Winning games is not the most important thing, but he's got to win a couple. He can't be like Rattler where we're looking at his 1-8 as a starter at the end of the year and going, can he actually get it done in the big moments? Like I do think, but for this week that may not be part of the discussion, Rod. So we will talk about our keys to the game. If the Saints are to compete, give themselves a chance in the fourth quarter, what has to happen?
I think obviously he has to take care of the ball, but my main thing is just going to be get a lead and somehow get a lead because they just have not been able to do that. He can't.
Did they have a lead in Buffalo? Is that one of the few games they actually had a first half lead in?
No,
they never got it.
They never. Okay, they had a chance to, and they turned it over at the.
They've only had a lead in 3 games all year.
Yeah. Okay,
so, it may take like get a special teams touchdown or defensive touchdowns. They just need some good stuff to happen early in this game, I think, to have a shot. Because I do think it could get ugly, if that doesn't happen.
Matt?
I think what I said earlier of Shuck navigating the pockets, and I also think the offensive line has to play well. I think maybe sometimes, I think sacks are a quarterback stat, but I also watched that joint practice, and it was not the quarterbacks that day. And so Kellen Moore loves to have his tackles be on an island. You wrote about that, Jeff, when you wrote about Kelvin Banks. Like, these young tackles are going to be really trusted to hold up against these guys, and I think they need to kind of step up to the plate for this one.
I got one for you, just completely off the radar.
Sure.
I think Devin Neal breakout game. I think that would go a long way toward helping the young quarterback.
Are you shifting your bold prediction to Devin Neal leading the team in rushing?
No, but I just think he's one of those guys that they need to take a look at, right? I mean, you got to find out what you have in him, too. Because Alvin's kind of hit a wall, I think, at this stage of his career. They don't have Kendre Miller anymore. They need to find out, can Devin Neal potentially be, the back of the future. I don't know. I have no idea. We haven't really seen him. I don't think, did he even carry the ball in the last game?
He didn't get any carry.
And he played 33 snaps, and he didn't receive one carry, which is insane.
Yeah. So, I mean,
That may
let's
have
see
been a
what
lot
he can
of
do.
pass protection stuff, though, right?
Yeah.
But he's been limited too, right?
Devin Neal?
As far as an injury,
This week you're talking about. Yeah, I thought he had an ankle this week.
He had,
Yeah,
he has an ankle this week. So does Alvin.
and so maybe he was
He's
banged
gonna
up a
play,
little
he's
bit. But
fine.
I do think that's going to be a theme of the rest of the year. Is like, where do you, besides Shuck, where do young guys get in? Do we see more Danny Stutzman? Do we see more Devin Neal? Do we see more of the young receivers?
Is this Rashid Shaheed's
Getting
last
this
game?
Rashid Shaheed's last game as a Saint. I mean, that's definitely a possibility. I'll give you guys a key to the game. You want to know what the Saints' record is when they force 5 turnovers? They're undefeated, baby. Go force 5 turnovers
all
and you
you
got a
gotta do?
chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're winless when they don't.
Matthew Stafford's
like
had 2
all-time?
interceptions.
No, just this season. It might be all time.
it probably lost.
They're 1-0 when they force them. They're 0-8 when they don't. How hard is this, guys? Just go force 5 turnovers. I'm just kidding. Okay, prediction time. Last week's winners. Okay, I picked 2 because it does get a little bit hard. I saw you arguing in the comments about who was the closest pick. I went with the closest to the margin, to the spread of the game, but there's 2 ways to do this, and I'll show you what I mean. So the Bucks won 23-3 last week. I'm going to shout out Time B64, who picked Bucks 24-9. Pretty close. So shout out to you. But the closest to the actual final margin of 20 was Joshua Porter, 40-78, who picked 31-13, an 18-point final margin, and it was 20. So I'll shout both of you out.
I think
I'd
I
also like
go
to-
with the first guy, but
24-9 was a good pick.
I'd also like to shout out, I think it was that guy Northern Saint in the comments. He's saying how we don't ever reply. I don't know. I read the comments all the time.
We do read the comments. I'm going to let y'all talk. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not going to reply directly, but I do like that guy's nicknames for us.
I think he also
The Bear, the Hat Man.
Yeah, I'm JR.
Yes.
And you're the leg man or something like that.
I don't know. I haven't seen any of this.
You don't read these.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Northern Saint. All right, I think he offered to buy us coffee incidentally. So maybe we'll take him up on that. All right, Saints Rams prediction starting with Luke Johnson, who is not here. He has Rams 31, Saints 17. There are a lot of commonalities in our predictions this week. I didn't talk to Luke about this, but I think we're all going to kind of speak to him because we're all right around that score. Rod, you're not around that score.
I'm not around that score.
Blowout.
I got the Rams winning 37-13. I just think they're coming off the bye week. I just think they're going to really be, just ready. Getting Puka back this week, so I think it's going to be pretty ugly.
I have Rams 31-13, and I actually wish I could take this back. I gave a prediction on Jim Derry's show yesterday, and so I felt like I better stick with it. I actually think it is going to be slightly closer. I think the Saints will play well under new quarterback. The Rams do enough to win, but maybe more like a 27-17 type game where they just sort of put it away in the fourth quarter. I think the Saints defense is playing fairly well. I picked 31-13 officially, but I think it could be closer. Matt?
Yeah, I would agree with it could be closer than what I had 33-14. I just think the Rams, I feel more confident about the Rams putting up points. I don't know what the Saints offense is going to look like. I put 14. That's 2. I'm thinking, all right, 2 touchdowns, 4 Shuck.
2 safeties, a field goal, and a touchdown.
Right, no. I think he's going to lead 2 touchdown drives. But I don't know. I could see him having maybe an okay day or a good day. It just depends. I don't think they're going to win, but I could see them hanging in there.
Yeah, I could see it actually be a higher scoring game than we think.
Right.
Okay.
Because the offense has been so bad lately, it can only get better. I don't see how it can get any worse, certainly than 3 points.
Well, 14 over 3 is
That's true.
is an improvement.
But, I almost went with the 19-point score since they've scored that a bunch of times. Shows you how many times they have relied on field goals that they end up scoring 19 a lot.
Yeah.
That seems like a good safe pick.
You had 30-16, Jeff.
Yeah, almost. I probably should. Can I change that to 30-19? I think it's gonna be 30-19.
You like the 19.
Got to get Group at one more field goal.
By the way, when you say, how can it not get any better? It's like it's a challenge to Louisiana sports because it just doesn't seem to be getting any better anyway.
Yeah.
All right, real quick, Norman, you're going thumbs down?
Too
tough? All right.
What's your score, Norm?
All right. Are they covering 14? Saints will cover 14, Norman says. Okay, so he's the one picking them to cover the spread. real quick, Tyler Shuck's final stat line. Any guesses?
Go ahead.
Wow, that's tough.
Jim yesterday, by the way, had, I can't remember what he said, completions and attempts, but he had 222 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions.
That sounds about right. All
gonna go
twos.
20 of 35 for 202. These like the most random numbers. 1 touchdown, 1 interception.
Yeah, I'll say 191 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick.
My only prediction is I think he's going to run for a touchdown. I think he's going to.
Okay.
They're going to pull out that little RPO thing, and he's going to keep it and go around the end.
Kellen Moore's going to be like,
So you gamblers out there, is there such a thing? Can you do that? Can you
yeah,
bet
Tyler Shough anytime touchdown, man.
All right, if it doesn't happen, I'm not paying for anything. So,
All right, Matt.
I'll go 23 of 36 for 212.
Jim said 222. You said 202, and you said 212.
Yeah, that's.
And
it's
when
in
you
there,
said
maybe 170. Yeah.
And what would you say toucthatdowns?
Oh, I'll go 2 touchdowns.
2
Both
touchdowns,
passing.
1 pick.
No pick.
No picks. Okay. All right. And I think no turnovers would be a very good.
Yeah,
that'd be a very good sign, no matter what the rest of the stats are. So we will see. We will have a post-game show for you Sunday evening after this 3:00 game, Saints and Rams. For our producer Norman Bell, he's Rod Walker, Matthew Paris, and Jeff Duncan. I'm Zach Ewing, and this has been the Saints Insider.